Wild card number 2. They made a coaching change this week. Marc Savard out, Steve Sullivan in, joining from the Toronto Marlies. Sullivan as fiery and competitive as a player.
Maple Leafs just changed the story behind the scenes, and the timing raised eyebrows across the league. A quiet decision, a sudden coaching move, a problem that could no longer be ignored. This was not a long-term plan or an off-season tweak. It happened fast, and it happened for a reason. What followed sent a clear signal inside the organization. The Toronto Maple Leafs announced a significant coaching change during the ongoing NHL season. The team added Steve Sullivan as an assistant coach, confirming the move through an official announcement shared by the organization. Sullivan joined the NHL coaching staff after working with the Toronto Marlies, the Maple Leafs' American Hockey League affiliate. The decision was made during a period of continued scrutiny around Toronto's on-ice performance. This move followed an earlier coaching change. On December 22nd, the Maple Leafs dismissed assistant coach Marc Savard. Savard had been responsible for running the team's power play. At the time of his removal, Toronto ranked last in the NHL on the power play, converting at 13.3%. The team had scored 12 power play goals through its first 35 games. That ranking placed the Leafs at the bottom of the league in special teams efficiency. The Maple Leafs confirmed that Steve Sullivan would step into an assistant coaching role shortly after Savard's departure. The organization stated that Sullivan was promoted from the Toronto Marlies, where he had served as an assistant coach since August 2024. His responsibilities at the AHL level included player development and on-ice instruction. Head coach Craig Berube addressed the coaching addition in comments reported by team media. Berube said Sullivan was a longtime NHL player and described him as an offensive guy. Berube added that Sullivan was brought in specifically to help with the power play. He also stated that Sullivan would provide a new voice and some different setups going forward. Sullivan's professional hockey background spans both playing and management roles. During his NHL playing career, he appeared in 1,011 regular season games. He recorded 290 goals and 457 assists. He played for 6 NHL teams, including the Toronto Maple Leafs. His playing career ended in 2012. After retiring as a player, Sullivan transitioned into front office and coaching roles. He previously worked with the Arizona Coyotes organization, where he served as director of player development and later held executive positions. In 2020, he acted as the Coyotes' interim general manager. At the time of Sullivan's promotion, the Maple Leafs held a record of 16 wins, 15 losses, and 5 overtime losses. The team sat last in the Atlantic Division. The coaching change occurred as Toronto prepared for upcoming divisional games, with attention focused on how the staff adjustment would affect in-game execution. The addition of Sullivan expanded the Maple Leafs coaching group, which includes assistants Derek Lalonde and Mike Van Ryn. The organization confirmed that Sullivan would immediately begin working with the team during practices and games as the season continued without pause. Before joining the NHL bench, Sullivan worked with the Toronto Marlies during the 2024 to 2025 season. That year, the Marlies finished with a power play conversion rate of 19.0%, ranking 11th in the American Hockey League. During the current AHL season, the Marlies' power play sat at 16.3% at the time of Sullivan's promotion. Those figures were cited by multiple hockey news outlets covering the coaching move. The Maple Leafs' power play struggles extended beyond a short stretch of games. Through more than 30 contests, Toronto failed to generate consistent scoring chances with the man advantage. Despite featuring several high-scoring forwards, the team remained near the bottom of the league in power play goals. This performance level remained a central topic in media coverage following Savard's dismissal. General manager Brad Treliving addressed the state of the team prior to Sullivan's hiring. In comments reported by Leafs media, Treliving said, "We've got areas that we've got to get better in. It's not lost on us where the team's at. We live it every day." His remarks reflected ongoing evaluation rather than a single-game response. Sullivan's promotion also aligned with the organization's practice of elevating personnel from within its system. The Toronto Marlies serve as the Maple Leafs' primary development affiliate, and several staff members have previously transitioned between the two levels. The team did not announce any additional coaching changes at the time of Sullivan's hiring. As Sullivan joined the bench, the Maple Leafs prepared for divisional matchups that carried standings implications. The coaching staff staff began integrating Sullivan into practice sessions and video reviews. His presence added another voice during game preparation, while the team continued to compete without any pause in its schedule. With the season moving forward and the standings tightening, the focus shifted to execution on the ice. Practices, line combinations, and power play opportunities became early reference points. The coaching change marked a clear internal adjustment, but the on-ice response remained the next development to be closely watched.
With Marty Bureau. Marty, here's an observation I've made. Nothing seems to come easy for this Maple Leafs team.
Another hit, another name added to the list, and suddenly the Toronto Maple Leafs are facing a situation they did not plan for. A key defenseman goes down mid-game. The starting goalie is ruled out again. Roster moves follow fast. The lineup shifts under pressure, and what comes next could change how the Leafs survive this stretch. The warning signs appeared during the game against the San Jose Sharks. Oliver Ekman-Larsson left the ice in the third period after his left ankle bent awkwardly during a play behind the net. He did not return. Teammates helped him off the ice. The Maple Leafs confirmed after the game that Ekman-Larsson would be evaluated further, with no immediate timeline announced. Before leaving the game, Ekman-Larsson had logged under 14 minutes of ice time. At that point in the season, he had already recorded 4 goals and 16 assists in 29 games. That total placed him among the top scoring defensemen on the Toronto roster. His exit immediately reduced the team's available defensive options during the final stretch of the game. Head coach Craig Berube addressed the injury following the matchup. He said the team would need more information before making any decisions. No confirmation was given on whether Ekman-Larsson would travel with the team or miss upcoming games. The uncertainty added pressure to a defense group that was already stretched thin. The timing made the situation more serious. Chris Tanev had already been out since early November due to a head and neck injury. Brandon Carlo had undergone lower body surgery and was ruled out for several weeks. Dakota Mermis was also sidelined with a knee injury. With Ekman-Larsson leaving mid-game, Toronto was suddenly without multiple regular defensemen at the same time. While the defense absorbed another blow, the goaltending situation brought more bad news. Joseph Woll was placed on injured reserve with a lower body injury. The move was made retroactive to December 4th. Woll had exited a previous game against Carolina after 2 periods and did not return. The team confirmed he would not be available for the immediate schedule ahead. In response, Toronto recalled goaltender Artur Akhtiamov from the AHL's Toronto Marlies. The move came as Anthony Stolarz was also unavailable due to injury. That left Dennis Hildeby carrying the workload in net. Hildeby stepped in during Woll's absence and recorded 33 saves in a shootout loss to Montreal. He later earned his first NHL shutout with 29 saves against Tampa Bay. These developments forced the Maple Leafs into constant adjustments. Defensive pairings changed, goaltender roles shifted, and with no clear return dates for multiple players, the team entered its next stretch without stability. What happens next depends on evaluations, roster decisions, and how long this injury list continues to grow. The pressure did not stop at the blue line or in the crease. The injury situation began to affect how the Maple Leafs managed games, shifts, and matchups. With multiple regular defensemen unavailable, Toronto relied on depth players to fill roles normally handled by veterans. Those players were asked to take on extended minutes against top opposing lines, changing the structure of each period. Reuters confirmed that Hildeby stopped 29 shots to record his first NHL shutout in a 2-0 win over the Lightning. That performance followed a shootout loss to Montreal, where he made 33 saves. Those games took place while Woll remained unavailable, and Akhtiamov served as insurance on the roster. The injury list created uncertainty heading into upcoming matchups. Sportsnet reported that Woll was not expected to play in the next game against Edmonton. That decision removed the possibility of a quick return and confirmed that Toronto would continue with an altered goaltending plan. At the same time, Ekman-Larsson's status remained unclear. Sportsnet reported that early evaluations suggested the injury might not be as serious as first feared, but no confirmation was provided. The team waited for further testing before determining whether he could return to practice or game action. Craig Berube acknowledged that the team had to manage day-to-day decisions based on health updates. Roster moves, recalls, and lineup changes became necessary as the season continued. Each update carried weight because of how many players were already sidelined. As the Maple Leafs moved forward, the situation stayed fluid. Injuries affected both ends of the ice. Depth players stayed in critical roles. And every evaluation, every practice decision, and every game lineup carried added importance as Toronto tried to hold position while waiting for clarity that still had not arrived.
Well, it definitely does give the team confidence for sure, and knowing that he's back there doing his job above and beyond, making the saves and giving us an opportunity to win a game. Kind of like just rubs, it just goes down the team and gives you more confidence to do things up the ice.
Something changed inside the Toronto Maple Leafs locker room, and it hit faster than anyone expected. A team that looked stalled only weeks ago suddenly tore through 3 playoff teams on the road, stacking goals, silencing crowds, and shifting its entire identity. Craig Berube didn't just steady the room, he flipped it, and what happened next pushed the story even deeper. The Toronto Maple Leafs entered December in a far different position than where they stand now. Their November record of 6-6-2 showed a stretch filled with early losses and a brief losing streak that slowed their momentum. Pressure grew as the team slipped toward the lower end of the Eastern Conference standing. Yet within days, something inside the group shifted, and the change appeared in ways the scoreboard made clear. Toronto went on the road and defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Florida Panthers, and the Carolina Hurricanes. Each of these teams held a playoff spot when the Leafs faced them. Toronto outscored these opponents 16-4 across the 3 games, leaving little space for doubt about the quality of their play. The wins came with control in all 3 zones, and they came fast enough to mark a visible break from the previous month. A photograph from Raleigh showed Austin Matthews celebrating a goal in the second period at Lenovo Center. The credit line stated, "James Galori Imagine Images," and the moment reflected how key players contributed to the shift. The reporting noted that Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, among others, all are helping the cause, and those names stayed active across each matchup. Their presence supported the team's broader turnaround during this stretch. Craig Berube's impact appeared across several layers of play. The coverage stated that Toronto beat these opponents in good fashion with no sweat by it nor any kind of nervousness, and that reflected the confidence building inside the lineup. The team won puck battles, generated clutch scoring, and created stronger power play and penalty kill sequences. These developments supported the factual description that the last few games for Toronto have gone about as well as they and head coach Berube could have hoped for. The 3-game performance aligned with another line from the report. The last 3 games for the Maple Leafs have shown the full team effort that they had been hoping to show since the season's beginning. That sentence captured the measurable improvement across the group. Toronto opened December 2-0, and early season concerns shifted as the wins continued to grow, leaving more focus on what these results might lead to next. Craig Berube's structure carried into the story as well. The coverage noted that he is turning things around for this team, tying the coaching approach to the improved results. The team displayed steadier spacing and more synchronized defensive support. These facts came from descriptions inside the articles and aligned with the documented results rather than interpretation. Each game in the streak showed clearer alignment between roster roles and on-ice decisions, reflecting the system Berube set in place. The reporting also emphasized the timing of the shift. It stated, "It took a bit for this to all be figured out for them, but it seems like it all came together now." This detail marked how long the process lasted before the streak formed. It also connected the early season challenges to the more structured play shown in December. Toronto's ability to generate consistent scoring, limit goals against, and perform effectively against playoff teams built factual support for the idea that their season had entered a new phase. The Maple Leafs' location in the standings added tension to the moment. The article pointed out they were towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, making each point gained during the streak significant. The reporting added, "If they can keep putting together complete performances like the last 3 games, watch out for them." That line reflected a factual statement from the article, and it captured the attention surrounding what the team might produce next as their schedule continued.
And I think last night is the kind of accumulation of a lot of different things, and last night's a great warning to the group what happens when you're not ready to roll.
Something just shook the Edmonton Oilers locker room. After a crushing 9-1 loss, Connor McDavid stood up and called out his own team. He didn't dodge, he didn't sugarcoat. He said the Oilers were flat. No energy, no emotion. Coming from the captain, that means something. What he said next set the tone for the rest of the season. The Edmonton Oilers are under pressure. They've played 16 games this season, and their record stands at 6 wins, 6 losses, and 4 overtime losses. That's not what fans or the team expected. And after getting blown out 9-1 by the Colorado Avalanche, something had to be said. Connor McDavid said it.
Early on, obviously, we found an issue to bring some of that emotion, some of that energy to the game. That's not fighting. That's not anything. It's just bringing that energy, skating, a little bit more physical.
In his post-game comments, McDavid told reporters, "It's been flat. That starts with me as a leader. There's maybe not been enough energy, not enough emotion, and we have to find a way to bring some of that into the game." This wasn't just about one game. McDavid spoke about the team's attitude over several games. He said, "We all have a hand in bringing just a little bit more, emotionally, physically, and just to our game as a whole." McDavid has 22 points this season, 5 goals, and 17 assists, but he's also -6 at even strength. That shows even the best players on the team are getting outscored when they're on the ice. The loss to Colorado was Edmonton's worst home defeat since 2009. The Avalanche scored goal after goal, and the Oilers didn't have an answer. The team was down 4-0 after the first period, and it only got worse from there. This wasn't just a bad night. It was a wake-up call. The Oilers were supposed to be Cup contenders again. They reached the Stanley Cup final 2 seasons in a row, but right now, their play doesn't match that level. Over the last 10 games, their record is 4 wins, 3 losses, and 3 overtime losses. That's not terrible, but it's not what a contending team expects. Now, with McDavid calling for more effort and emotion, the whole organization is on alert. The message is clear. Things have to change now. McDavid's message wasn't just frustration, it was a warning, and it wasn't only for the player, it reached the coaching staff and front office too. When a captain speaks like this after a blowout loss, it signals a bigger problem inside the team. Coach Chris Knoblauch now faces pressure to respond. Line changes, goalie decisions, and defensive structure are all under review. The Oilers can't afford to let this slide. Their next games are critical. McDavid said, "We have to find a way to bring more." That starts immediately. McDavid's call for emotion matters. Hockey isn't just about skill. It's about fight. The Oilers haven't shown enough of it. They've looked flat, not just in one game, but over several. That's why his comments hit so hard. This also affects the fans. The Oilers have one of the most passionate fan bases in the NHL. A 9-1 home loss sting. And when your best player says the team isn't bringing enough, fans expect action. Behind the scenes, the organization must decide how to fix this. Trades, call-ups, system changes, it's not clear yet. But McDavid just put everyone on notice. He didn't blame others. He included himself, but he didn't stay quiet. His leadership now demands results. Not someday, but now. Edmonton's next games will say a lot. If they come out with speed, energy, and purpose, this could be the turning point. If not, bigger changes could follow. For now, one fact stands out. The Oilers captain just spoke louder than ever, and now the entire hockey world is watching how they answer.
It's against our standards, and I thought we played with some pretty high standards today, and again, saying that, it doesn't guarantee a victory. It doesn't mean it's perfect. But I felt our intentions were there. We were organized in our 5-on-5 play, and it was a good game. I thought we stayed patient. It's unfortunate we don't get the 2-point, but a lot of positive.
Martin St. Louis made a shocking announcement to the Montreal Canadiens on November 8, 2025. The goaltending controversy exploded 24 hours earlier when Jakub Dobes cried after losing. His veteran Samuel Montembeault ranked 2nd worst in the NHL statistically. St. Louis canceled practice immediately. He called Dobes into his office. The decision he revealed would alter everything. Dobes stopped 24 of 28 shots in the 4-3 overtime defeat. His record dropped to 6-0. 5-0-1. The loss came when Jesper Bratt scored 93 seconds into overtime with a backhand shot through the 5-hole. Dobes took full responsibility for the team's first overtime loss of the season. "We played good enough to win, just not good enough from my side," Dobes told reporters after the game. "I don't know, just really hard. This is a tough one. Just sucks. It happened last year, it happened this year. Lose to those guys in OT. So just disappointed in myself, that's pretty much it." The emotional display shocked media members present. NHL.com reporter Mike Morial witnessed the scene firsthand. "Don't know if I've ever seen this before, but MTL rookie goalie Jacob Dobes, who entered this game 6-0-0, was literally in tears, blaming himself for the Canadiens' loss." Morial posted on social media.